Well, the day has come for President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney to take the stage and debate their stances. But with the nonstop campaign coverage and media blitz, at this point we already know, for the most part, where the candidates stand on many of the issues. And we're guessing that some of the most important domestic issues will barely get a mention tonight. RT correspondent Liz Wall takes a look at the top 5 topics the presidential debate won't cover.
Well, the much-anticipated first U.S. presidential debate finally kicks off, but chances are there won't be too many surprises. At this point, we know where both candidates stand on the issues that have been in the forefront of the news cycles. Interestingly enough, there are some critical and pressing topics the incumbent and his challenger won't talk about, and we've compiled a list of the top 5. First off, poverty, a problem that has reached record levels in America. And the numbers say it all. Take a look at these stats recently released by the U.S. Census Bureau. 15% of the U.S. population is considered poor. That's 46 million Americans, 1 in 5 children living below the poverty line. The income inequality gap is historically wide in the U.S. and only growing. Another issue that probably won't be discussed is the revolving door between Wall Street and Washington. Former lobbyist and now convicted felon Jack Abramoff recently spoke about the systematic corruption on RT. Here's what he says needs to change.
I'd like to shut the revolving door between public service and cashing in the influence industry, lobbying or strategic advising, whatever one calls it at the moment. Every law that the Congress passes should be applied to itself, such as we see with the problem of insider trading, where they can blatantly use inside information to make money, and the rest of us shouldn't and can't.
Well, number 3 on our list, the ever-expanding use of surveillance. And we've talked about Trapwire, an elaborate intelligence infrastructure that uses state-of-the-art surveillance systems. We're talking facial recognition, point-and-tilt cameras, traffic cameras, and vast databases, all working together to track suspicious persons. There's still a lot we don't know, but much of this system was exposed on WikiLeaks. And beyond cameras, the winding down of the wars means these unmanned aircraft you see behind me could be hovering in a sky near you. Well, next up on our list, military spending, a hot-button issue Ron Paul brought to the forefront time and time again.
I wouldn't wait for my generals. I'm the commander-in-chief. I make the decisions. I tell the generals what to do, and I'd bring them home as quickly as possible, and I'd get them out of Iraq as well, and I wouldn't start a war in Libya. I'd quit bombing Yemen, and I'd quit bombing Pakistan. I'd start taking care of people here at home because we could save hundreds of billions of dollars. Our national security is not enhanced by our presence over there.
But we don't expect President Obama nor Governor Romney to talk much about it. And last but not least, the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA. It was signed into law by President Obama on New Year's Eve. A controversial provision allows the government to detain American citizens indefinitely. A group of journalists and activists sued the government over fear that they could be indefinitely detained under the law because their jobs sometimes require them to communicate with terrorists. Chris Hedges is one of the plaintiffs. Here he is speaking to RT about the dangers of this law.
It removes due process for anybody who is deemed not just a terrorist, but to have contact with these associated forces. That's not a term that's defined. It's nebulous. It's quite a frightening piece of legislation.
Well, Hedges and the other plaintiffs had some victories in blocking the controversial provision that allows for indefinite detention. But on Tuesday, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit extended indefinite detention powers. So there you have it, the top 5 topics that likely won't be discussed in the first presidential debate. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. But I wouldn't put my money on it. In Washington, Liz Wall, RT.